Hello and welcome to Your New Jersey. I'm Lisa Marie Falbo. On today's show, we'll learn about Manette's Angels and their upcoming galas celebrating 20 years of helping people with breast cancer. But first, Preschool Advantage is a nonprofit in Morristown that helps pay for underprivileged children to go to preschool. Joining me now to discuss more is their executive director, Nancy Bangiola. Nancy, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, this is such an amazing program that hits close to home because I have a child nearing preschool age. So tell us all the story behind Preschool Advantage.
Preschool Advantage began over 27 years ago when Jill Lasser and Stuart Lasser were sending their child to preschool. And they noticed that their youngster was playing with kids from all different backgrounds, having a wonderful time, and that they were all so comfortable with each other and learning wonderful things. And Jill and Stuart thought at that time that it would be a terrific idea to fund a child who couldn't afford preschool. And then they decided that it would be a good idea to incorporate and become a nonprofit. And that happened about 27 years ago. They incorporated under the name then Project Acorn and operated for many years. And they sent increasing numbers of children to preschool as the board developed and as funding developed. Until today, when we're now Preschool Advantage, and we send 100 children to preschool every year in Morris and Somerset counties.
What a beautiful mission. So ahead of their time, right? I mean, now you hear about programs like this, but 27 years ago, I'm sure it wasn't as prevalent.
That's right. And, even 27 years ago, there was Head Start. But Head Start addresses the needs of those in our community who are very needy, below the poverty level, which is $26,500. So if you make $27,000 or $28,000 in Morris County, you're on your own for preschool. That was true then and true in many of our communities now. But people like the United Way will tell us that it takes more like $82,000 to make it for a family of four.
Nancy, how many families have you been able to help over the past years?
It's over 2,500. It's interesting. We were constantly trying to quantify that. We started way before electronic databases, and so we have to kind of carefully count it. But it's over 2,500 now, approaching 3,000 over the 27 years of our existence. It's 100 a year, and it's very exciting.
So how does Preschool Advantage find these families, or do the families find you?
It's a mix. Our partner preschools, and there are 27 of them, are our best source of the families that we serve, even to this day. That was true when Jill and Stuart Lasser began this mission, and it's still true today. They're our best source of families in need and families that really value high quality education. But we also find ourselves anywhere we can in the community at any local parade or festival or anything where we can get in front of families, and oftentimes too at our fellow nonprofits who serve the same populations but from different angles.
So Preschool Advantage engages with the families, does the intake. What are the next steps?
So once a family either finds us or hears about us through one of these avenues, whether it's their church or their preschool or a festival where they see us, out and about in the community, then they come to us through an application process, which is online, multilingual, and they fill out an application. And the application tells us a little bit about the family circumstance, a little bit about the child that's going to be going to preschool, and a little bit about the family's financial footprint. We want to know and verify that this is a family in what is called by the United Way the ALICE population. That means asset limited, income constrained, but employed. And that's that window between over the poverty limit at 26.5 and under the amount that it takes to make it in Morris or Somerset County, somewhere between 82 and sometimes as high as $100,000, depending on how many children and the ages of those children. So we take a look at that family situation. What is the demographic of this family? What is the income level of this family? Where are they located? What schools or school did they choose on our list? do we have an opening in that school? And then we make that match if we can. And the process, it begins right now as we're receiving applications right now, and it goes all the way until April or May. We have an army of volunteers who help us read all those applications, meet with every family that applies to us, and then make the decisions about where we're going to be able to place those families.
Talk about the partner preschools that you work with.
That's such an important part of the magic of Preschool Advantage. So we have 27 different partner preschools in all the communities in Morris and many communities in Somerset County. And they provide high quality preschool. That's our mark. We have a rubric or a 3-page document of sort of the markers of what is a high quality preschool. We've developed that over the many years we've been in existence with the help of volunteers who are preschool educators and experts in the field, and the help of people like NIER, the National Institute for Early Education Research, who gives us a lot of data on what high quality preschool looks like. And the interesting thing is that there are certainly markers of what high quality preschool is, a curriculum that is developed and delivered by educated educators who guide the child toward their growth educationally. But that same curriculum can be delivered in a variety of ways. Everything from a Montessori-based program, which is very child-led, to a more religiously based and affiliated program that is sort of your traditional model there and incorporates a lot of sort of self-worth and understanding, to one of our preschools that has an outdoor program they developed during the pandemic. They went to outdoor structures. All the children bundle up in January and in February and in December. And unless it's raining cats and dogs, they're outside learning about the environment that they're in a very hands-on way. Those are all great models for preschool learning. And there's a number of ways to get to the same great experience for a child.
And that's so amazing that you are giving these families access to all different kinds of preschools, because, you know, not every school is for every child, but you, I'm sure, are matching the children with what would work best for them as well. Never mind the economics. Yeah.
Exactly. We want to match each child with the place where they're going to thrive and learn the most and become exactly who they're meant to be. So that's our mission, is to help that child bloom and grow.
So Preschool Advantage, it's a nonprofit. How do you get support to sustain your organization?
So I say this all the time. In our office, we have a small staff of 4 people. We have the best view of the world there is. We have these beautiful children who are just extraordinary. These wonderful preschools who partner with us and open spaces for our families. The families who want nothing but the best for their children. An endless army of volunteers who help us with our work. And then our generous donors. Most, if not all, of our funding comes from private foundations, family foundations, some corporate funding, and individuals who give to us each year. We don't receive any government financing at all, which allows us that flexibility to find the best solution for the child, to have a broad window for the families that we serve, to look at each family individually. And so that gives us some flexibility that government funding just doesn't afford. While we love the talk of universal preschool, no one's more excited about it than we are. There is some flexibility that private funding affords.
Do you think that could come to fruition one day, universal preschool?
I do think so. I think in the state of New Jersey, the passion for this as a real solution for families and for children is there. And I think the understanding of what a game changer preschool education is has really taken hold. So there's study after study that shows that preschool education is sort of the lever to pull for equity in education. And what I mean by that is the children who attend high quality preschool are far more likely, almost by 50%, to graduate from a high school, to attend at least a 2-year and sometimes a 4-year college, to be successful in their careers, to stay out of discipline in high school and therefore juvenile justice systems in their high school years, and then justice systems in general in their adult years. So it's the kind of thing that really changes outcomes for children. And they're looking at the reasons why, and there's a lot of thought on that. Of course, it's language acquisition and all those things, but it's partly grabbing this child in a moment of intense development. So my favorite fun fact, and I shared this the last time we talked briefly, your brain has expanded sort of to the biggest degree it will in your whole life by the time you're 5. 85% of all brain development occurs before you're 5. So if you can capture a child at 3 and 4 when their language development is literally exploding, when their understanding of the world, when their sorting ability is really exploding, you can open pathways in a brain that will stay open the rest of their lives. And so, when they get to high school and they're exploring Shakespeare and the beautiful words and the extraordinary literature there and the deep meaning in the poetry and sonnets of Shakespeare, that preschool experience is there. The pathways that opened at 3 and 4 are activated then. So that's the beauty of grabbing them when they're 3 and 4 and opening the pathway wide, deep, and rich. It never closes again.
I so agree with that. I have a daughter who just turned 2, and I see it now, new words, and I mean, every day is something new. And that's why I say to my husband, I can't wait for her to start preschool because I can only imagine how that'll grow.
Yeah, isn't it just, it's such a joyful thing to watch. They really literally bloom in front of your eyes. And you see, sometimes you wake up, I remember this as a young mother, you wake up and you see them in the morning and you think, wow, you grew overnight. You're bigger. You have, 10 more words than it seemed you had yesterday. You have the ability to do brand new things today. That's the window. You want to maximize that moment. And you want to instill in the child that love of learning and that vision of themselves as someone who can learn, who can do anything that they set their minds to. Educators call that self-efficacy. I can learn. I can't do it yet, but I can learn to do it. That's the moment to teach that lesson. It sticks.
It definitely does. And that's why what you are doing is so important, because you're helping so many families and the next generation learn and grow. Nancy, before we wrap here, tell us about your background.
Oh, interesting. So I am a lawyer by training, but I don't practice law any longer. And I actually became involved with Preschool Advantage in the very beginning of its existence. So I was a young lawyer at Schenck, Price, Smith & King in Morristown, great law firm where I started my career. And I was tasked with the file for Preschool Advantage, then called Project Acorn, or about to be called Project Acorn. I was in the meeting where they named it as a very young lawyer. And I was fascinated by the idea that 2 people who wanted to do something good in the world could make such a huge impact. And I kind of fell in love with nonprofit work at that time. I also joined our own school board in the Morris School District, and I was a member there for 20 years and fell in love with and learned a lot about educational development, pedagogy, curriculum, and the wonderful work of equity in education and the important role it plays in opening opportunities for all students. And so when Preschool Advantage was looking for a new executive director, I jumped at the chance and put my name in the hat, and just delighted to be a part of the team again and on the inside.
Isn't it funny you spent all that time studying to be a lawyer, but in that path you hit on your true passion?
It's so true. It's amazing. And you never regret anything that you learn or develop, or any of the skills that you develop. And I loved a lot about being a lawyer, but I really, really have a deep passion for education, equity in education, and for the nonprofit world. It's an exciting place to be.
Nancy, thank you so much. This was so enlightening, and please continue doing the great work for families and little kids around the Garden State. Thank you.
Thank you for having us on and for letting us talk about it. We're really excited to be here.
Well, where can people find out more about you?
Oh, great. So we have a website, preschooladvantage.org. We hope we make it very easy for families to find information about us and to apply right online. Donors can also find information about us and contact us for more information at any time. We're in Morristown, New Jersey, but we serve the whole county and Somerset County as well. Our telephone number is 973-532-2501. So you can also call us.
Thank you so much once again, Nancy.
Thank you.
Minette's Angels is a foundation that looks to help women suffering from breast cancer. On Wednesday, May 10th, they're holding a gala in Florham Park to commemorate 20 years since beginning their work. Here now to tell us more is the founder of Minette's Angels, Ken McKenna. Ken, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Lisa. Glad to be back.
Yes, we're so happy to have you back, and 20 years is a big milestone anniversary. Why don't you tell the story about how it all came to be 2 decades ago?
So I started the Minette's Angels Foundation after my wife, Minette, passed away 20 years ago. She had battled breast cancer for 10 years at that point. Minette was a registered nurse, and she devoted herself to her patients throughout when she was working. And she continued that after she was diagnosed, actually trying to help as many women as possible who had recently gotten their diagnosis. So it seemed like a natural to then continue that after she passed. And the core of our mission are our acts of kindness. And those are attempts to try and make it a little easier, a little nicer as women are going through their treatment and surgeries, et cetera. And those acts are all different kinds of things. They might be a manicure, they might be a facial or a massage. They might be a dinner or a movie or a cleaning service or supermarket gift cards, depending on some financial need. We've developed over the years these beautiful pink blankets and these beautiful spa robes that we will give to women. And again, it's to try and help them as they go through that process.
Ken, I know that over the past 20 years, you've given out numerous scholarships. Can you tell us about that program?
So yes, so we did originally start with a scholarship at a Verona High School student and somebody going into the medical field, hopefully nursing. We've expanded that. Minette was a nursing student at Seton Hall University, which is where we met. And so we're now giving out scholarships to second-year nursing students. We've been fortunate in that we've had some great applicants and awarded a number of scholarships. And we've even actually followed those students through their junior and senior years. And I was fortunate enough, our first recipient, Miranda Rasmus, invited me to her graduation ceremony to be there to see her graduate from Seton Hall. And the other scholarship that we added a few years back is what we call an impact scholarship. And that's a high school senior who has been affected by breast cancer in some way, whether it's a mother, aunt, grandmother, whatever it might be. And that has turned out to be very positive as well. So we're trying to help those people who are impacted.
It must be so fulfilling to see the students that you give these scholarships to go on into that line of work.
Yes, I mean, the students are great. We're really fortunate to see, wonderful people, and we've had them at our various events. I anticipate a couple of them will be at the celebration on May 10th to be a part of that night as well. And we've actually just awarded our recent scholarship just this last month for the current school year. It has grown dramatically. I was fortunate to meet my wife, Kathy. Kathy is one of the co-founders of the Susan Komen North Jersey affiliate. And I always say I lost my first wife to breast cancer, and I found my second wife current wife, Kathy, through breast cancer. And Kathy has helped tremendously in terms of growing and making us more professional in terms of our literature and our outreach and some of the things that we're able to do, and encouraged us to get our first website and so on. So it's been a wonderful journey with her.
Well, you have a wonderful wife. Nobody loves your wife more, though, than my daughter, Liana, because every time my daughter sees Kathy, it's like white on rice. So she's just a wonderful soul, and I know she helps you with this foundation and the event that's coming up in May. So tell us all about what to expect.
So as you mentioned, it is 20 years since we got started. On May 10th, we'll have a grand cocktail reception at the Park Savoy Estate in Florham Park. We'll be honoring 4 individuals who have been huge supporters over the years. Our medical angels, Dr. Dean Sirio and Dr. Cyrus Lagmani of East Coast Advanced Plastic Surgery, and Ross Cooperman, Dr. Ross Cooperman of Cooperman Plastics. And our philanthropic angel, Jimmy Hill of 8 Hills Caterers and Lakeside Deli. It's interesting, we tried to go back a little bit to our roots, and Jimmy was part of our first event that we did back in 2004, which was literally a night to remember Manette, and kind of was the beginning for one of my dear friends to encourage me to go and start the foundation. He took care of all the legal filings and the IRS and everything like that. So we've got some great honorees. We're looking forward to having a great night. Park Savoy does a great job, and we'll have some live music and some entertainment, and then, but mostly it's just to enjoy ourselves. There's a silent auction, a live auction, things of that nature. And we actually have a raffle, which is kind of interesting. So Chef Ariane Duarte, who beat Bobby Flay, is actually agreed to donate a dinner for 10 people in your house. And we're actually selling raffle tickets for that, and we'll draw that night. Ariane will be there with her husband, and we'll draw that, and you'll make the arrangements. So you can get more information about the event and everything we do at our website, which is www.manetteangels.org. Or if you'd like to, you can email me directly. My email, ken@manetteangels.org. I would also like to do a shout out for our chairperson of the event, Rita Maggetto, who has been working literally 24/7 on getting this all going, as far as all of the invitations and the social media, and has done an amazing job. So Rita, thank you so much for everything that you've been doing.
It's going to be a wonderful night, and it's so important because, unfortunately, you've probably seen this, over the past 20 years, I feel like breast cancer, the cases have just become more prevalent, and it's become prevalent in younger women.
Yes, without a doubt, we are seeing many more younger women get diagnosed. Manette was 33 when she was diagnosed, and she was not the norm. That was pretty rare then. But what we are seeing is that early detection, which is so critical in women being able to survive breast cancer, has become much more prevalent. And fortunately, more and more women are looking at their family history, their genetics, to see whether or not they are good candidates to start those mammograms earlier and seeing their doctor earlier. And that's really a big piece of this. 1 in 8 women are going to be diagnosed, with breast cancer each. And so the more people that get to see those doctors who get tested, the better chance they have.
Absolutely. Well, I'm coming up on that magic number this year to start getting tested. And, it's in the back of my mind, right? I mean, it's just so scary how you hear women my age and younger just getting inflicted with this. But the good news is science has caught up, and there's so much in the world of treatment right now, too.
And there are so many great doctors out there, surgeons, doctors, plastic surgeons, like three of our honorees, who are helping women to get through this. Because it's one thing, that diagnosis, I can remember hearing those words, and that's the beginning. But it's to try and help these women as they go through this to feel good again, to feel good about themselves, and to be able to live the rest of their lives.
How can people find out more information about Manette's Angels and your upcoming gala?
So the website is www.manettesangels, MINETTESANGELS.org, or they can email me, ken@manettesangels.org, and happy to provide some more information.
Ken, thank you so much for coming on Your New Jersey.
Thank you so much, Lisa.
Thank you for watching another episode of Your New Jersey. I'm Lisa Marie Faldo. We'll see you back here next week.